Hey Defenders, welcome back. So in the last video we did a auto install of a all-in-one Wazuh installation. So that included the Wazuh Manager, Filebeat, Elasticsearch, and Cabana all being installed together. And a all-in-one deployment is good for demo purposes, but in a actual production environment you'll definitely want to go with a distributed deployment. So this would mean the Wazuh Manager and Filebeat are running on one server, and our Elasticsearch and Cabana are running on a different server, right? And you can even get, as your need for computing power increases, you can expand out your Elasticsearch cluster to where you're spinning up a ton of Elasticsearch nodes, and then you have one server dedicated to just running Cabana, like kind of what they illustrate here where my mouse is hovering over, and Cabana then queries all the Elasticsearch nodes and load balances that way. So you can, depending on the amount of computing power you need to be able to store your logs and view and filter on your logs, depends on how many servers to add to a Elasticsearch cluster and kind of how to architect your deployment, right? You can do it differently depending on your needs. And within the distributed deployment, they also have a auto install scripts as well. So in the last video, we covered the deployment for a all-in-one install. We covered an install for an all-in-one deployment, and now let's run through the auto install of a distributed deployment like what we see here. So stay tuned and we'll jump into it. But first, time for my shameless plug. If you want to learn more about our company, head on over to opensecure.co. If you would like to hire us for a project, select the Hire Us button at the top of this video. To see firsthand the power of open source technology, take advantage of our interactive demo. Select the demo button and start exploring. Now let's get back to the video. All right, and so to break this chart out even a little simpler, so in the last video, and if you haven't seen that, it's popping up now on the screen, so go ahead and watch that before finishing this video. But we deployed the Wazuh Manager and ELK in a all-in-one deployment. So we got on one server and ran the install script, and it installed the Wazuh Manager, Filebeat, and ELK, which is Elasticsearch and Cabana together. And now we're going to go ahead and do a distributed install. So we're still going to use the auto install scripts, but we'll run one set of scripts on one server. That'll be the Wazuh Manager, and that'll install the Wazuh Manager service and the Filebeat service for us. And then on the other server, we'll install Elasticsearch and Cabana. And then the Wazuh Manager will send its logs to Elasticsearch and Cabana. So we can go ahead and jump into that. We'll go ahead and follow their documentation and select the distributed deployment. We will select the unattended installation, and what we'll do is, you can see we have two different directory or hyperlinks to go. So let's go ahead and install the backend portion first. So the backend portion being Elasticsearch and Cabana here. So I'll go ahead and select the Elasticsearch and Cabana installation, and let me go ahead and load that server up. So I'm on the server now. As I mentioned too, they have the tabs for a single node or a multi-node. A multi-node being, if you need the extra computing power, you can add more Elasticsearch servers to your cluster, right? So here I have a server running Elasticsearch and Cabana. Say I need another, I can have a server that's dedicated to running Elasticsearch, and these guys talk to one another, right? And say I still need more computing power. Well, I can do that here again, and these guys talk to each other as well. So again, depending on the resources that you need to be able to fully support your environment, you can add more nodes, and that's where they go into the multi-node type of deployment too. But for this demo, we're just going to do a single node, so Elasticsearch and Cabana are being installed on the same server. So they have a few scripts here that we will go ahead and grab. Make sure I'm on the right server. Okay, so we'll curl out and grab their install script. And we'll go ahead and grab their config.yaml. You can see they give us a few instructions on what we need to configure for that. So let me send that off to the side. All right, and now they're telling us we need to edit the config.yaml. And where did it upload? Oh, okay, it's in my home directory. Can't start. Oh, let me do a yum install nano. Ha, I got it done. I did it first without it complaining that I didn't have nano installed. That's the first time I think I've remembered to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this guy, and you see there's a few settings we need to set. So they're telling us edit the config.yaml file to specify the IP you want the Elasticsearch service to bind to. Okay, so if I run it if config, let me bind it to this guy here. And if you have multiple interfaces on a box, of course, you could bind it to a particular interface if you want to. But we only have the one, so I'm binding it to this guy. It's asking for client certs. We'll leave this. That's fine. So it's going to generate certificates for us as well. And then it wants the Cabana IP address, which in this case will be the same as our Elasticsearch server. So we can leave that. Then it's asking for our Wazuh IP address as well, which will be, because it's going to generate certs and associate there we go certificates with these corresponding IP addresses. So that's why we're needing to input them here. Here we go. I think this comes bundled with if config. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I guess this server image I downloaded was like a minimal one or something that didn't have if config already installed, but that's fine. So I have my IP address here of my manager, so I'll populate that. Let me make sure I stop firewall D if that's running. Okay. All right, and we're done with the manager for now that we have the IP. And now we'll save that off. And let's go ahead and run the install script, so now we need to replace the node name. And this can be whatever you want. So Elasticsearch has node names that it assigns to servers in its cluster. So for example, this may be node 1. And then if I had another node, this would be, I would name it node 2. Node 3, whatever naming convention you want to use, but two Elasticsearch servers cannot have the same node name, or else you'll get an error. It uses it for its communication that it's doing kind of under the hood. But so we have to set that here, and that's fine. So I'll do a node name of please subscribe, and we have the -e argument set. So okay, let's run that. Okay, so it's saying that we don't have the minimum hardware, which they recommend 4 gigs of RAM and 2 core. I think I only have 1 core on this demo box. Yeah, I do. So that's fine. And let's just use a -i. Okay, so we'll use the -i argument to ignore that. And even that, 4 gigs of RAM and only 2 core CPU is very small. So if you're looking to deploy this in a production environment and have over like 50 servers or so, this wouldn't be enough. You would have like 50 Wazuh agents to deploy. This wouldn't be enough resources for unless I guess you stood up multiple VMs running Elasticsearch with 4 gigs of RAM and 2 core CPU, then they could balance it accordingly, but I wouldn't recommend that. All right, and so it's going through the install, so this all looks good, and we use the -e parameter to just install Elasticsearch, so it's installing the open distro for Elasticsearch. You can see only Elasticsearch is being created here, so that's good. Let's go ahead, while this is being installed, we can move along and see what our next section is. So download the script. Is this the same? It looks like it's the same script. Oh, in case of installing Cabana on the same server, this step must be skipped. Okay, yep, so we can skip that. And so it looks like we'll call the same script, but we'll use the -k. And then we're also going to point it to a node, and that will be the node name. This name must be the same using config.yaml for their certificate creation. If I go back into that. Okay, so it looks like for that it'll be the name of admin, I guess. Even though that's name of the instance for the certificate creation, which the certificate creation will be admin. Okay, so we'll do admin and see what that does. Hopefully that doesn't fail on us. But it looks like Elasticsearch is done, so that's good. Okay, so now let's run the same command, but instead of the -k for, or sorry, -e for Elasticsearch, we'll do a -k, and I'll do an n. I would think this node name should be the same as the node name we provided of Elasticsearch, which would be please subscribe. We did use a name in the config.yaml. We did do name of instance. This name must be the same using config.yaml for the cert creation, which was admin. Huh. I'm gonna say please subscribe and use the same node name, which is please subscribe, because I think that's right. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And okay, I'll do a -i again to ignore the limited amount of resources. Installing Cabana, okay. We should know pretty quickly if this is wrong, because we'll get like probably a cert issue, which is fine. And once this is done, we should be able to access Cabana. Initializing, okay, good. Okay, and it's telling us we can access Cabana now and gives us the link here. So far so good. Okay, so far so good. So it looks like using that node name of what we used to assign to the Elasticsearch cluster was right, so that's good. Admin and admin. And okay, this looks good. This looks good. And of course, this is going to fail because we haven't installed the Wazuh Manager service yet, right? So we still need to do that. But after first look, this all looks like it's installed and installed correctly. So that's good. All right, and let's go ahead and change the passwords for this, right? For our user, like we did in the previous video, which is just grabbing this bash script here. They also provide this, which is nice. And we'll go ahead and run this, and I'll do a password of please subscribe again. I go into a little more detail of this process in the last video, so I won't cover that again here. And what I'm doing is we're using this bash script to change the password of the admin account that was created during this process, but by default they set it to admin. So I'm changing it to admin with a password of please subscribe. And okay, password changed, and okay, that's good. So now let's go ahead and we'll get kicked out of this. And now I can log in with a password of please subscribe, and we're in. Okay, good. So now let's install the Wazuh server part of it. So I'm done with the Elasticsearch and Cabana server. Let me jump onto the Wazuh server. and we can go ahead and install this. I'll cd into auth, go ahead and clear my screen off, and we'll grab the install script, and we will run the same, replace no name by the name of the Wazuh server. This must be the certificate creation Filebeat. So we'll do a no name of please subscribe, and we'll go ahead and run that. Looks like we need the -i flag again. Oh, so I need to, okay, I need to transfer certs over. Let me see where it's looking for. Let's go ahead and open this script and see where it's looking for cert. Oh, darn it. I'm 1 for 2 in terms of my infamous battle with Nano. Where is it gonna be looking for the script? Check if configuration file or certs exist. Okay, so it's looking for a certs.tar. Okay. Within the home directory. So I'm guessing I'll have a certs.tar. Okay, I do. Okay, good. All right, so let me copy that over to my Wazuh Manager, and I'll just use SCP to do that. Let me grab the IP address, and I'll just throw it into temp. Okay, and so no, if I cd into temp, okay, I have my certs.tar, so I'll go ahead and copy that to my home directory here. That's where it was looking for that, right? Yep, okay. All right, let's try that again. Okay, cool. So we needed to copy the certs over. I should have known that, sorry, but it gives us a little troubleshooting that we could look into, so it's always good. Fine, I'm not really learning anything if something's working fully, if something's working correctly the first time, so. Alright, so it's installing the manager, installing Filebeat, starting Filebeat. Okay, so we can do a simple Filebeat test output. Let me see if I do a status Filebeat. Okay, looks like we have a failure here. Maybe it doesn't like the node name. Should be right. Okay, yeah, these are all the instructions we have here. So let's see. Failed to start. Let's go ahead and cd into etc Filebeat. See what our .yaml file looks like. So it's looking for our Filebeat.pem. It's etc Filebeat cert, Filebeat pem, etc Filebeat search, Filebeat pem. Okay, where is, okay, so if I go into cert, root ca pem. So it just didn't extract the certs like I would have expected this script to do. Wazuh server. Let's see where that was. Here we go. If starts.tar, then starting installation. Okay, so I guess the script just didn't extract these for some reason. Let me, my search.tar should be here, right? Okay, so let me extract these. I'm not a tar expert, even though I'm sure this command is pretty simple. Extract.tar, let's see. Tar xvf, okay. Let me see if I can actually extract them. Oh. I'll just do it here and see if I can extract them to my directory. Not found in archive. Okay, I'll just extract them here. Okay, so they're all extracted here. So now I need to, where are they pointed at? My filebeat.yaml. So filebeat.key and filebeat.pem. Okay. And that's under the search. Okay. So I'll copy the filebeat.key to etsy filebeat search. And I'll copy the filebeat.pem. Okay, now let's try filebeat test output 401 because we changed the password. Okay, but we made progress, so the certs are good. Now we need to change the password from admin to admin. Please subscribe. And good. Okay, so now we can restart Filebeat. And if we run a status of this now, we should be connected. Yep. Connection to Elasticsearch established. Okay, good. Now let's see if our Wazuh Manager is running. Okay, that looks good. And now I should be able to go into the Wazuh app. Default API has been updated, and here we go. So now we're ready to start deploying our agents. Right? So how easy was that? We had a few troubleshooting, we had a few roadblock with the Filebeat certs. I'm not sure why it didn't extract them for us as part of the script. I'll look into that a little more, or if something obvious jumps out to you guys that I missed, let me know in the comments. But also, of course, we would want to remove these extra certs. We don't want anyone getting access to these private keys, right? Or else they could impersonate one of our servers. So, but for the most part, that was pretty easy. Pretty much copy paste, and we had to make a few corrections, but hopefully this video will help you guys overcome those corrections or any roadblocks that you have when deploying in your own environments. So I appreciate you guys spending the time with me, and I will see you in the next video.